Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar on talent acquisition in ForexCFD brokerage firms inside ForexCFD professional recruiters. My name is 𝗵𝗲𝗶𝗵𝗀. I'm the Programs and Business Development Manager here at 𝗵𝗲𝗰𝗿, and I will be your moderator for today's session. We have put together some truly valuable insights for you, and we are confident you will find the webinar both informative and engaging. So thanks again for being here with us today, and let's dive right in. Just a few quick housekeeping notes to take them away before we proceed. We will have around 45 minutes of presentation, followed by a 15-minute Q&A session. Please feel free to use the Q&A box or the chat box, whatever is convenient for you, for any questions or comments. All comments will be answered after the presentation. The webinar is being recorded, and you will be able to watch it later on 𝗵𝗲𝗰𝗿 YouTube channel at your own pace. And furthermore, we are going to forward to you the presentation slides the following days. Just to remind you that we are not going to issue any certificate. And finally, in case that you are experiencing any technical issues, try refreshing your browser so that to solve any issue from your part. So today webinar, talent acquisition in ForexCFD brokerage firms inside ForexCFD professionals and recruiters. Very interesting topic, as HR professionals and recruiters working in this sector need more than just job descriptions and CVs. They need, of course, a real understanding of how these firms actually operate, because unless you understand the business model, the regulatory environment, and how departments function internally, it becomes very difficult to hire the right candidate, or in the case of recruiters, to confidently, if you like, propose the right opportunity to someone entering the market or considering a career shift. So this industry is dynamic, highly regulated, and performance-driven. So that means that hiring decision directly affects compliance, operational efficiency, and event reputation. The aim of today's session, amongst others, if you like, is to move from a transactional recruitment, if you like, to strategic talent acquisition, and to help you to hire smart, not just faster. So we're glad very much to have with us today Marios. Hi, Marios. Thank you for being here with us today. Nice to be having you. Marios is an economist, educator, and professional working in the financial services industry for more than 10 years, specializing in various areas, including dealing, securities, fundamentals and technical analysis, MQL programming, and portfolio management. Marios is dedicated to understanding the intricacies of the markets, refining his own personal strategies, and educating those interested in delving deeper into the world of investments and speculation with ForexCFD trading online brokers. I don't know if you have anything further to add on this, Marios, about your professional background before we move forward, or we can leave it towards our official course. Be my guest if you like to add anything regarding your professional background, of course. And without further ado, let's dive into today's webinar presentation. Marios, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, 𝗵𝗲𝗶𝗵𝗵, for the introduction. Hi, everyone, and thank you for devoting some of your invaluable time to enter into this session. What 𝗵𝗲𝗶𝗵𝗵 said, you can find more by finding me on LinkedIn as well. You can find a lot of information about my work. I have articles, I have posts, and you can read all about my bio. And obviously, there is a section in LinkedIn as well, and you can find there the businesses that I've worked in during my professional journey. You can use chat, if I'm not mistaken. You can ask any questions you have during the training. I will try to answer the questions during the training, but it might not. I might not have too much time. We have to go a little bit fast with this training. It was supposed to be longer than 1 hour. We have only 1 hour today, so I will be a little bit fast. And basically, we are going to help today, especially the people who are new in the industry, in the brokerage and CFD products. Okay. 𝗵𝗲𝗰𝗿, can you make sure that the chat is available? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's not. But in any case, if you have important questions, please let me know.
The chat box and the Q&A are available for all our attendees. Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm not able to see it, but it's okay. If there are important questions, I will. When I have time, I will ask you for them, and we hopefully we will collaborate effectively in helping the attendees with their questions. All right, so let's proceed. I have an introduction here. The webinar is specifically designed for HR professionals, recruiters, everybody basically that is hiring in the industry. I'm speaking about the so-called Forex. This is how it is known currently. Some people, they call it Forex. I would prefer if they call it brokerage, okay, industry. Because here we don't have only foreign exchange, but we have several asset classes, as we will see later on. We have basically the so-called derivative products. They are associated with different asset classes, so with different financial markets. And that's why I prefer to refer to this as, not as just Forex, but brokerage. In this slide, I'm saying key pillar for the Cypriot economy because many people are trying to enter into the industry. There are high salaries, and they are trying to get as much information as possible. They are trying to upgrade their knowledge regarding this industry. I think in Cyprus, especially, it's the only industry that I'm familiar with that it has high salaries. It pays, so they are trying to enter into this industry. This session will provide participants with practical structured understanding. We are going to see some practical implementation of some things only. But in the future, obviously, if you contact EIMF and say, okay, we need more, we need more of this subject, let's say, we can have a longer session and we can enter into more detail. How these investment firms operate, we're going to see some things, but not in too much detail. We're going to see some things about the structure, etc. And obviously, we're going to see parts of the business model, let's say remuneration, how the brokers make money, basically. What is the revenue model? Organizational structures, what are the departments associated with this industry? What are the requirements for the roles relevant to these departments? Okay, obviously, this information is valuable for you. Some of the terminology used, I already mentioned the CFDs, the contracts for differences. These are the products used in this industry. Departmental functions, job responsibilities. So what is the goal of this session? The goal is for you, the participants, to get some information, upgrade your knowledge in regards to this industry, in order to be able to match the candidates, with the opportunities that exist and match them well. So you won't, you have less chances of making bad hires, let's say. I will give you some examples from my experience. I hope it will be helpful for you because I'm also interviewing people and I'm assessing as well. It's a fast-paced and highly regulated industry. I want to focus on the highly regulated industry. Regulation is something that creates a big challenge in the industry. Okay, so the business, the broker, has to have a specific culture. It has to be oriented around regulation highly. Okay. We're going to see why later on. Okay, as I mentioned, I'm not going to spend so much time on me. Let's proceed to the topics. You can find my LinkedIn, as I mentioned, and information from 𝗵𝗲𝗰𝗿 regarding me, the educator. The topics covered today, we're going to look at the CFD brokerage fundamentals. What is this product, basically? What are investors or traders are basically doing in this industry? Why do they need the broker, to trade or to invest? Regulatory frameworks, we're going to look at some examples. Risk and compliance culture, this is what I mentioned already, that is very important to consider when hiring. How CFD brokers drive revenue, as I mentioned, we're going to see not in much detail how revenue is created, but it's very important for you. Why it is important? Because it relates to critical departments. These departments are the ones that are driving revenue. And obviously, it relates to hiring, and it's critical, especially for you, the hiring specialists. Firm structure and reporting system. Firm structure, we're going to look at the departments. That's why I have departmental breakdown and roles. You have to be able to understand them, understand the roles, the responsibilities of each role, and how critical it is. And we're going to look at some examples of candidate assessment, obviously relevant to the industry. Every session, every program, every educational material has to have goals. And in this slide, you can see that after this session, you're supposed to be able to identify candidates with relevant product knowledge, to onboard people with accurate product knowledge and skills, not irrelevant, with the product. You should be able to improve your hiring skills, to recruit, recommend ethical-minded staff. Ethical-minded is also relevant with regulation. Okay, we need people fit and proper. This is how regulation requires. It's a regulation requirement, let's say, to have fit and proper people with an ethical mindset. You should be able to describe the type of corporate structure in a ForexCFD broker. I'm not going to enter into much detail, but you have the slides, you have the presentation, so you can see this structure, and you can obviously reference to it. You should be able to name 6 important departments vital to the broker's operations. You should be able to craft precise role requirements that reflect industry needs. I've seen some, let's say, positions, some requirements in advertisements of positions. There were not crafted with precision. Okay, you should be very precise when crafting these requirements. For example, I would say, is it a hybrid role? Okay, but maybe you should be more precise on that. You should be able to explain how to assess experience and potential fit. You should be able to present interview questions to probe real knowledge. We're going to see an example later. Now, let's go to the product. What are the traders? What are basically the investors doing? What are the clients of the broker doing? They are using a financial software. We call it an online trading platform in order to invest in various assets. But this is in the CFD brokers. This is a CFD contract, and I'm going to use the Excel file to give you an example of what is a CFD and why it differs from traditional investing, okay? I'm going to use the Excel and also the slides in combination, okay? Obviously, you can ask me anything during this presentation, use the chat, engage with the training, and I hope I have questions so I would know if I help in this or not, okay? And thank you. So here with traditional investing, we have people basically that are able to buy assets. These assets could be gold, it could be stocks, as the presentation mentions. It's an example of a stock we call NVIDIA, okay? I'm sure you've heard about NVIDIA. It's a very famous company. And people, when they want to invest in NVIDIA, they select this asset class, they search for NVIDIA stock, and they buy NVIDIA stock. For what purpose? For the purpose of profiting from the price increase of the stock. This is traditional investing. I'm pretty sure that you are familiar with Revolut. Okay, Revolut is it was a payment solution provider. Then it became a bank, so it has banking license. Then it became a broker. Okay, this is what we are talking about today. So it has a brokerage license, and you can use the financial app, okay, of Revolut to invest in these assets. You can invest in ETFs, in stocks, etc. But Revolut is not only a financial app. I would say it's better if we call it a sophisticated trading platform, okay? And I want to separate these two because there are a lot of financial apps. In Cyprus, we have, for example, Bank of Cyprus, the bank. It has also a financial app, but that financial app is not a sophisticated trading platform. I would say just a trading platform, okay? Like 𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀, I'm sure that if you are an experienced hiring specialist in this industry, you know some of the most famous trading platforms that exist. This is MT4 from 𝗵𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 and MT5. And these are the sophisticated trading platforms that I'm talking about. You can trade CFD products with these platforms, okay? And the CFD products are actually used for speculation reasons. Okay, so people to speculate situations. It's not traditional investing. While we are just buying, an asset and we are waiting for that asset to for its value to rise. We are not holding the asset for a very, very long period of time. But I'm going to give an example later of how CFDs are used. And Revolut offers CFD products currently, okay? I'm just giving an example with Revolut because I'm very sure that you are familiar with it. I'm sure that many of you are using Revolut at least for transferring money to each other, okay? So that's why I'm using that. Now, in this slide, we have the trader, the investor wants to buy NVIDIA stock because the investor expects that the price of the stock will increase in the future. In traditional investing, is going to buy the stock. If the price increases, obviously the value increases and is basically profiting from this increase. The CFD is an agreement, a contract that does not grant any ownership, not like the stock, like the actual asset, but it is instead called a financial instrument used for speculation reasons, to speculate on the price movement of the stock without holding the actual asset, okay? So it is a derivative. It derives its value from the stock, which is the underlying asset. These are terms that are used in this industry, okay? And many people are having difficulties, understanding what is a CFD, what is the difference between the CFD and the actual asset. Well, this is it, okay? And you have the slides, so you can reference to it, and obviously you can search for more information in the internet, okay? And I'm going to explain again later by using another slide with an example of a CFD and how traders can make money using the CFDs. In these slides, we have oil, basically, crude oil. Its price is in dollars. Here we have an example with the price $18 per barrel, okay? So this is the actual barrel. And obviously people are not going to buy 1 barrel or some barrels of crude oil and then trying to find and sell it in the market for crude oil. They're going to use a CFD, which basically mirrors the price of crude oil, okay? And they can do it online, and they can speculate on its price. What does that mean? It means that if they speculate that the price of crude oil will increase in the future, they are buying the CFD that is based on crude oil. And this is the example here, okay? We have 100 barrels. We can do it also in the Excel, so you can see how it is. So we have the price, which is 80. And we have the quantity as well. I will call it Q. So we have 100 barrels. And obviously, we are waiting for the price to increase in the future from 75 to 80. Sorry, here we have 75. This was the previous price. And now we have the current price, the future price, let's say, and this is 80. In order to find the how much profit we are making when the price increases, there is a universal formula, which is basically the price difference multiplied by the quantity that was traded. Let me see if I can have it for you with good visibility. So we have the price difference, which is basically $5 in this case, multiplied by the quantity that was traded, which is 100. So what is the profit from this transaction? Is $500, okay? And this is obviously presented in this slide, okay? As I mentioned before, if you have any questions at any time, just mention this in the chat. So why all of this presented here in this webinar? Because I want to give you an explanation of what the clients of the brokers are trying to do. They are trying to make profit by trading these financial products. And the nature of these products is complex. It's basically a highly regulated environment due to the fact that the CFD products are leveraged products. So basically, what does this mean? It means that the broker is lending money to the clients to buy more quantities, even if they don't have the money. So we are having some kind of credit here. And that's why this environment is highly regulated. You can say that the same thing as the banks. Obviously, the banks are regulated by the central banks, okay? And financial institutions are supervised and regulated by the regulators, okay? In the financial services. It's the nature of the products, is the framework in which they operate, and it's highly regulated, okay? These are the asset categories. We are not talking only about stocks. We have foreign exchange. So people basically engage with the currency market. We have the metals, gold, silver. Recently, we had a hype for gold. Lots of people were buying gold recently, and generally metals. Silver's price increased more than double, if I'm not mistaken, during the last year. Gold as well, it was 2,500, now it's 5,000. We're talking about big increases. Energy, like UK oil, US oil, cryptocurrencies, I'm sure that you heard of this as well. Stocks, obviously, and indices. And I don't have it here, but we have also new products like ETFs, exchange traded funds. They are very, very famous as well. The industry's market participants are the following. We have retail traders, so retail investors. We have institutional traders as well. So there are some traders trading on behalf of institutions. Let's say you can say that. We have brokers. They are categorized as market makers, STP brokers, prime brokers offering liquidity to other brokers. We have the regulators, obviously. They are giving licenses for brokers to operate. These are the supervisors, let's say, of the industry, of the investment firms, the brokers. Here I have some examples, very famous regulators. I have the Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission, which is in Cyprus, the FCA, Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, Australian Securities and Investment Commission in Australia. These are, let's say, top and famous regulators of this framework. There are technology providers as well engaging in this industry. These technology providers are trying to find solutions for brokers. So they are creating a lot of sophisticated financial software and other software that are basically providing solutions for these entities. Then brokers and basically these investment firms, they have many needs. So these technology providers are identifying these needs and they try to meet the needs by creating, technologically advanced products. These products could be, for example, a CRM, it could be plugins for execution, such kind of products. Any questions? Please don't hesitate at any time to engage with the training, okay? Here, I wanted to emphasize to the fact that regulation is something very important to consider. And when you hire people, they have to have awareness of regulation. It is very, very important. You want the organization, you want the business that you are working for, the broker, not to fail in this area, okay? Because it's very, very important. We see some people that are struggling to meet the requirements. There are a lot of reporting as well that has to be done. Here, mostly I'm referring to client onboarding procedures. AML stands for anti-money laundering. KYC is not your customer or not your client. There are sanctions if you fail, if the broker fails to meet the requirements, or more strictly, revocation of license or suspension of license from the regulators. Okay, so I'm talking about a very important area in the business. So AML basically requires that the broker has to have procedures in place to to make it difficult for people to use the broker for such fraudulent activities. Brokers are required to detect and prevent money laundering. The staff must be able to recognize red flags. So in hiring, you have to focus on people who have experience with this, okay? Also, the KYC policy, brokers must verify client identity, source of funds, and suitability. There is also the PEP tool for politically exposed persons. Some brokers, if I'm not mistaken, they don't accept, most of them, they don't accept trading from PEP people, for politically exposed people, okay? There are other procedures called due diligence, for example. This requires a more, let's say, a higher level of screening of the client or any counterparty that interacts with the broker, okay? So in order to prevent sanctions, revocation, or suspension of license, you have to hire people who know about these procedures, who are aware of regulation, and, you know, risk identification is number one for them. You don't want the broker to be subject of such a risk, okay? You want to counter that risk of not complying with regulation. You need to build a compliance culture, and this is the goal. Here I have a practice case, I have a scenario. Let's say you are the recruiter, hiring professional, there is a candidate interview, and it says, can you walk me through your experience with AML procedures in a financial services firm? And the answer is, in my last role, I handled client onboarding. We collected ID documents. This is, when there is an onboarding procedure, the broker asks for KYC documents. These documents are, know your client documents, proof of residence, proof of identity. So here the candidate says we collected ID documents, identification documents, but if a client was high value, we sometimes fast-tracked them to avoid delays. So you see, they skipped the procedure in this case. And obviously, this is a red flag. The candidate admits to bypassing KYC for high-value clients. This suggests a compliance risk and potential violation of regulation rules. Okay? So this is a red flag for this candidate. And obviously for the broker that was working for. Especially for managers, they have to be, in the position to tell you that they weren't part of any fraud or any, skip of as an important procedure. So this is very, very important. And another thing that this slide teaches hiring professionals is that from the question, you can get the idea that the hiring professional has to know about the what were the duties and responsibilities of the candidate, and ask specifically for a procedure. My background is mostly in dealing, so let's say if the hiring professional was to wanted to ask me a question, it would be, for example, what is your experience with people who are trying to abuse the systems, the vulnerability of the infrastructure? This is something that is important in dealing rooms, and in monitoring, in risk monitoring positions that have to do with clients' transactions monitoring, yes? So it's important to ask the questions that are relevant to the candidate's background. Now, let's give some information about the broker, where the revenue is coming from. CFD brokers make money primarily through client transactions. These are called transactions costs for the client. One example would be commission per transaction. So whenever a client is basically trading, is doing a transaction, let's say it's buying the stock, the CFD on a stock, the cost associated with that transaction, the commission that the broker is earning, is actually part of the revenue. Each transaction is associated with a fee. Okay, that's the commission. In the CFD space, there are many costs. We have commissions, we have spreads, we have swaps. These three costs are associated with transactions. And obviously, these are revenue for the broker. It says here about the risk management model, A book versus B book. This is the case where the broker is either acting as a principal to the transaction or is acting as an agent. In the traditional investing case that I mentioned at the beginning, we had the agent model, which basically the broker acts as an intermediary between the client and the market. Okay, but there are brokers that act as principals, and this creates the so-called B book. If you want to learn more about it, we don't have time to. I don't have time to get into details here, but you can search AI or the internet for more information. Why am I referring to this? Because obviously, the more the deposits, the more the transactions, and the more the revenue for the broker. So hiring professionals should focus on people who can actually bring more deposits in the industry, more deposits for the broker. These are usually sales, business development, but we have also another critical department, which is marketing. So they have to hire marketing professionals who are actually doing a good job in generating leads, in advertising the products of the broker in a very good and professional way. They have to know the product very, very well and how to advertise it without contradicting the regulatory requirements. And that's very, very important. As I mentioned, regulation is everywhere. Okay. Another critical department that arises from what I just said is obviously the compliance function, the compliance department. Okay. And the compliance department is obviously going to have interaction with everybody in the business, because everything before it's publicly available, everything has to go first to compliance for approval. And this is how things should be done. Now, as I mentioned, the broker will increase the revenue with more deposits. Deposits require clients, and the broker needs either to have existing clients deposit more or get new clients. It's not. It's publicly available information that most investors, most traders are actually losing money in the industry, and that's why the broker has to always invest in both marketing and partners, because these two important functions are actually providing the most value for the broker. They are the ones that attract deposits. They are the ones that that the broker should invest more in it. Okay, they have to ensure that this cycle, of getting more deposits is continued. Panayoti, if we have any questions, please let me know, because I don't see anything in the chat.
We haven't received yet any questions.
Okay.
I have placed a note for everyone if they desire to write any comments or any question. But yes, let's move forward.
Okay.
And if any questions, I will let you know.
All right. Okay, so let's proceed. The generation of leads is important for the broker, as I mentioned. This has to do with sales, marketing, and business development. Business development, obviously, is the is the team of people who are contacting partners of the broker. You might know from Revolut as well. There are some, let's say, schemes like refer a friend, for example. This is very similar to introducing clients to the broker. Okay, this is actually a function of business development as well. They are trying to find partners who are going to introduce clients to the broker. Okay, so that's why it's an important function. And I just received a message from Revolut saying, "Oh, we have 100, people introducing clients to us." They even actually promote it. Okay, that the referrals are actually working. Okay, so that's very important. In every broker, if I'm not mistaken, there is a hierarchy system. Okay, so the firm is split into different departments, and we have department teams. Yeah, the system of hierarchy applies here with the CEO on the top. There's a CEO, and there are basically the reporting employees on the bottom. Okay. The reporting managers. So we have the people they report to someone. That's the line manager, or it could be the head of the department. It depends on how big the broker is. Okay, so this is the structure that I'm sure you are familiar with. Every department has its own overview page consisting of objectives, key responsibilities. Obviously, the business has to set proper KPIs, key performance indicators for each department, and it will be ideal to have KPIs for each individual as well. Okay, working in departments. So it has its lead persons, subpages with relevant material, and if there is education involved, proper education in this business, it will be even better because we have complex products, we have highly regulated environment, and proper training is ideal. Okay. This is a typical setup for a broker. I would say this is a typical setup for SISEC entities, not for all entities. You have audit, external, internal data protection. You have external audit basically here. On the left, you can see dealing, which is vital for the broker to operate. There is obviously finance and accounting, just like any other business. Payment solution, payments ahead of payment, that is basically handling the payment solutions. These are very important part of the business because without payment solutions, people essentially cannot deposit money into the broker. So it is actually critical, okay, to have these solutions. People, for example, I will give you an example. PayPal. I'm sure you know PayPal. It's a solution. It's a payment solution. If I remember correctly, I was trying to deposit to a broker. They accepted PayPal. So you can transfer money to PayPal and from PayPal to that broker. Marketing. I mentioned that marketing is a critical department. Sometimes brokers have an investment research team with market analysts that are helping investors by providing information, articles about the markets, not investment advice. Business intelligence, another department that is vital for the business to operate. It has data analysts, data scientists. These people are helping with many aspects of the business, including reporting to the regulator, building tools and for people to use related to preparing correct reporting and adequate reporting to regulators, but also analyzing the business needs, providing reports to management, etc. So they can take decisions based on this important information that business intelligence is providing. Back office, funding, account opening, it's something that I'm sure you are familiar with. I already mentioned some procedures that has to be in place in client onboarding, and back office and funding and account opening are relevant to it. Customer support, every business has customer support, obviously. Project management is something that small brokers do not have, but big brokers have it. And the project manager is actually valuable for the business. It's the intermediary, the one that helps departments to complete a project that is needed by them. And obviously, the project manager is going to make sure that the project is, can be completed, that the need can be met, and they provide the progress and the result to management on this step-by-step process of building the project. HR, one of the most important departments, obviously, of the broker. The hiring professionals, the main department most closely to the employees. They have to understand them. They have to, guide them through their journey, the professional journey in the business. We have chief of revenue, sales, business development, and the people working with affiliates and partners. This is also the critical department that I mentioned that is keeping the partners happy and finding new ones. And one of the departments that actually is critical, very critical for the business, the partners and marketing, as I mentioned already. IT, obviously, every broker, every financial services firm, every investment firm is depending on infrastructure. It's depending on technology. That's why you should devote a lot of time understanding what people should be working in information technology or technology departments. Because we have also security breaches. They have to know about cybersecurity, and this is very, very important for a broker. And finally, the training department that I don't see in most brokers, but I would say that is also important. Assess experience and potential fit. Remember five steps here. Evaluate technical experience, platform proficiency. If the person is working in such an investment firm that has sophisticated trading platforms, at least the people who have experience, they have to prove that they are using the platform themselves. Imagine if you have an experienced person in front of you, a candidate, and you ask the question, have you ever used a trading platform to trade? And the answer is no. It will be very awkward and obviously will not fit for the position. Analytical and decision-making skills for the positions that require analytical skills. Decision-making if they were in positions that they had teams to manage and they had to take decisions. Measure cultural and team fit. Obviously, the culture is something very important. Different nationalities have different culture, okay? And, you know, hiring professionals have to know a few things about the culture of the person in front of them. And if they are going to be a good fit for the team that they are, you know, that this person is going to work in. Assess growth potential. Is this person going to, you know, grow within the company? Is this person going to create long-term relationships with other people in the company? In other words, are they going to be a family in this company? And believe me, I've worked in a company that we were a family, okay? And it was great the way we worked for many years. And this is the mentality that everybody should have. Asking the right questions during the interview is important to get it out of them, yeah? Use practical assessments. Yes, sometimes you need to prepare some assessments, practical assessments. These might be in the form of questionnaires, for example. I've recently had the experience of having a test. Not so recently, but I had the experience. The people who are preparing the tests have to be very, very careful. So the test is matching the expertise of the candidate and not something irrelevant. And that's why I feel that, you know, the hiring professionals should, you know, upgrade their skills, their knowledge about the industry. And obviously, this is the purpose of the particular webinar. And I think this is the final slide. Candidate green flags. There are also candidate red flags, but I'm going to finish with this. Yes, Panayoti, you want to say something? Okay.
No, just watching. Yeah.
All right. Candidate green flags. Clear, logical career progression with relevant experience in regulated environments. You know, we want the candidate to have, when you ask the candidate, what was your progression during your professional journey? Obviously, you need the candidate to give you information about a logical career progression. For example, not working in one industry, then changing into another, and, you know, I don't know, changing into 1, 2, 3 industries. You want to see something that is stable and clear, you know. Strong grasp of trading platforms. Honestly, we had candidates that never opened at least a demo account on the trading platform. And we were shocked. Risk management or compliance framework, especially if they are experienced, they have to have a strong grasp of these areas. They should be prepared, they should be curious. If you tell them to ask questions about, you know, if they have questions about the business, these questions should seek insights from you. What is the company? What is the position, the situation of the company now? How it grew from last year until now, and where is this company investing currently? What is the vision? This means that the candidate is curious to know, is going to devote his time and effort into a new company that has a vision. Multilingual fluency, speaking a lot of languages is required by a lot of departments, especially customer support, maybe, and obviously in sales and business development as well. Cultural awareness, something that I already mentioned. Evidence of continuous learning. Many people are trying to get certificates. They are actually entering into webinars. They show their devotion into upgrading their knowledge, their skills. Me personally, I you know, after many years in financial services, I spent a lot of time in becoming a professional educator. So I have the HRDA certificate, and this required to pass exams as well. Others might want to enter into the program of passing the AML exam that 𝗍𝗍 is providing currently, and many others. And from AIMF, if I'm not mistaken, there are many programs that someone can, register and enroll. Emotional intelligence, has to listen well, adapt, communicate with clarity and empathy. You don't want someone that is giving a signal that he doesn't know what he's speaking about. And a long-term mindset, they talk about growth, goals, and how they can contribute over time. So today we covered some important areas: identify candidates with relevant product knowledge, onboard people with accurate product knowledge and skills. Remember that they have to at least have experience with the platforms, relevant background, economics, for example, finance, accounting, has to be very relevant. Improve hiring that reinforces the company's ability to meet regulatory obligations. Remember, regulation is very important. Recruit, recommend ethically minded staff. Remember the fit and proper. Describe the type of corporate structure. I already have a slide for you with this departmental breakdown. 6 important departments that reflect industry needs. I mentioned already many, including marketing and business development. Explain, and obviously obviously the compliance department. I already explained how to assess experience and potential fit, and present interview questions to probe real knowledge at the last slide. And that's it from me. I see I have question from Stabriana. Do we have time to answer, Panagiotis? Fine.
We are closing to the end, but yes, we can give the floor to to our participants. Yes. Would you like me to read the question from Stabriana, or you can see it?
Yeah, I can answer now in 1 minute. Actually, they are requiring both 𝗍𝗍 Advanced and AML certificates for the compliance roles. I wouldn't say that the AML certificate is actually something that they require 100%. It's very important. Yes, for some people it's mandatory. For some serious businesses, it's mandatory, I would say. But I don't have a clear answer to your question, since I'm sure that for 𝗍𝗍, yeah, they need it. They need you to be, to be a professional, to have passed the exam. They need to hire people who can prove that they have knowledge around the framework, around the regulatory framework.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Stabriana, for the comment. If anyone has any other question, let me make a question for you. Based on your experience, what is the most common, if you like to call it, like a misconception that area professionals have about how ForexCFD brokerage firms operate? Is there something that you can share with us?
A misconception is that brokers are trying to, because there are a lot of people that lose money in this industry. It's like the casino. Casino, they don't expect to people to make money from playing at the casino. The misconception is that there is a lot of fraud. Let's say that brokers cannot be trusted, etc. It's true, but not for the majority. Remember that it's a highly regulated environment. It's just people sometimes, they are not careful, and they don't check if the broker is licensed, if it's actually a broker and not a scam. So we could create webinars on how to identify the proper and regulated brokers.
Okay, good. I think you have mentioned before, but what key competencies or personality would like traits distinguish high-performing professionals in this sector? You have mentioned before about some competencies or what the HR professional recruiter needs to be aware of, given the example you have mentioned before. What are the key competencies?
Okay, it depends on the experience of the individual. If we have a junior entering the financial services, I would recommend that at least this person is graduating from a university and a high ranked, I would say. For example, the university, if we are talking about the brokers hiring in Cyprus, I would recommend that this person has, at least from an accredited institution, a university, a college, but to have some qualification, not hiring just someone because, we pay less to hire. We need to have at least some background, economics, finance, something related to the services. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what about the personal traits, the characteristic of a person? I mean,
the characteristics of the person, and we are not talking about the academic background and etc. The person should be should have a clear path in their mind. The person should be able to say, I started from here, I'm in this current position, and now I'm going to this place. I have a vision. And you see this person and you ask this person, if you are hired, does that fulfill your vision? You are in the right place. And they are going to ask themselves this question, and if they are able to answer it, if they feel that they fit, then we are talking about the right person. I can say from my side, I am a master's, I'm an economics graduate, and I'm working in financial services. If you ask me, where do you see, yourself working in the future, I would say in the same industry, because, I'm crafted, let's say, in this industry.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Marios. We're heading towards, of course, the end of our webinar, so we need to wrap up. I don't know if you have any final comment to make before we close the session. As a final remark from your side,
no,
just to thank our participants. Yes.
Just to thank you, just to thank the participants for finding time this 1 hour to, enter into this session. Obviously, I would like to mention that we have a relevant article in regards to hiring. It will be a good idea to mention that as well to them, because it also has some important information as well in that article. And for our next event, that is going to take place soon. When you check my profile in EIMF, you will find it. It's relevant.
It's good to mention. Thank you for mentioning this, Marios. We are going to deliver with Marios on the 19th of March, the Advanced Securities Dealing and Risk Management course, a 6-hour course. So we'll be glad to see you there or spread the word. So thank you all for your participation. I hope today's session has provided you with practical insights that will enhance your recruitment effectiveness within the dynamic, highly regulated industry. This, of course, session could be a 6 or a 7 hour long training by itself. But Marios tried to give us, let's say, a brief a taste of flavor of what recruiters and professionals need to be aware of. So thank you very much to all. Special thanks, of course, to our presenter Marios for his time to present this topic and offer his insights. And we are looking forward to see you in our next webinar. So stay tuned and enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye from us for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy. Thank you.